What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. And I'm on my Instagram, and I want to talk about this situation with Gabe Rosado. He's venting through the media about not getting the fight with Billy Joe Saunders. He thought he would be in line to fight him on the CANELO versus Liam Smith undercard, winner facing CANELO in December on HBO, right? So Gabe Rosado's mad because at the moment it doesn't really look like the fight's going down. I want to give my 2 cents on the whole matter. I agree wholeheartedly with Gabe Rosado. And the reason I believe and agree with him is because I know what he's saying is valid in terms of he really wanted the fight. And the reason I know is if you guys follow my page, you will see something. And hold on, let me find it because I post pretty frequently. But I know what he's saying is true, and I know he wanted the fight. Damn, where is it? Here it is. Now, the reason I know this to be true is because of this. I was contacted by Gabe Rosado, his friend, someone close to the situation, and they asked me to do a flyer. And you see how far back it was. This was 2 weeks ago, July 27th. They asked me to do a graphic, basically, to help promote the fight because they've been talking about this fight, which I obliged. I'm like, okay, that's not a bad fight. Help out Gabe Rosado. So I made this little graphic, put it on my Instagram, 341 likes, and people commented and whatnot. And guess what? Now it doesn't look like the fight's happening. Not because of this man, because of this man. And the reason he cited was that a fight with Gabe Rosado does nothing for him, right? So I'm going to explore that in this particular video. And the thing that, the first and foremost thing that makes no sense about that is the winner of this fight would be in line to face CANELO Alvarez if he gets past Liam Smith in December. So why would you be opposed to, who cares who you have to go through, you're going to get a big money fight with CANELO. So it doesn't make sense to say, oh, I'm not, you know what I mean? That's like Errol Spence Jr., he's facing Leonard Bundu to be in line for Kell Brook's belt, the IBF belt. That's like him saying, oh man, Leonard Bundu, he already lost to Thurman. That does nothing for me. It's an eliminator, you dummy. Of course, you know what I mean? It don't matter who you have to fight. You know what I mean? If it's Bundu, if it's Konstantin Ponomarev, Errol Spence Jr. is going to fight whoever that person is that stands in his way of the prize, which in Errol Spence Jr.'s case is a chance at the IBF belt. For Billy Joe Saunders, that'd be a chance at a money fight with CANELO Alvarez. So who cares if it's Gabe Rosado or Pee Wee Herman? It doesn't matter, right? That's one thing. Two, the other thing that doesn't make sense is you were about to fight Max Bursak, who is this guy right here. 33-4. He's lost 4 times, 1 draw. He is, where's his age? 32 years old. Fights at super middleweight, so he's 6 feet, so I guess he'd have to drain himself because it looks like he's been fighting at super middle, so he has to drain himself 8 pounds to fight you at 160 unless it was a catchweight, and you were going to fight him. So what does that do? Beating him, what does that do to you? You know what I mean? What does that do for you? Fighting and beating Max Bursak. At the very least, you got to say Gabe Rosado has entertaining fights. He shows a ton of heart, and he's been in there with premier names with a good resume. He fought Gennady Golovkin before really anybody fought him. He stepped up. The fight was going to happen at a catchweight. He said, fuck the catchweight shit. I'll fight him at his true weight, so there's no excuses. He came up short, but he didn't get knocked down or anything like that. He lost to the man. Golovkin said he had the flu, and he at least was trying, right? He also beat guys like Josh Clottey recently. He has fights with David Lemieux, and you know what I mean, he was doing his best he got a cut. Peter Quillen, he didn't look bad in that fight, and then got stopped somewhat controversially. Jalen Love, who later tested positive for something after the fight, and a lot of people thought Rosado should have won the fight. It was later changed to a no contest. So the point being is Rosado's way more known than Max Bursak. And this is who you were going to fight in your last fight. The only reason that prohibited that fight from happening is because you got a hand injury. So to me, I'm not understanding what it is with Billy Joe Saunders. He clearly ducked Gennady Golovkin. He didn't want that particular fight. He came up with all these excuses. Like, I've never even heard fighters say some of the stuff that Billy Joe Saunders has stated. Like things, oh yeah, he'll whoop me and Chris Eubank Jr. in the same night. And he was like, hell-bent on bringing Golovkin to the UK, which Golovkin is going to the UK, and that could have been Billy Joe Saunders, but instead it's a welterweight named Kell Brook who is taking the challenge, right? But that could have been Billy Joe Saunders. He had every opportunity to fight him. He came up with all these things and all these clauses. He even said, which you guys will be able to see the tweet in this video, that $500,000 or $1 million or whatever they offered him, which I heard was a low seven-figure payday. He said that's not life-changing money. Like, what are you expecting? Who are you? Who do you think you're, like Billy Joe Mayweather Jr.? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people don't know you on this side of the pond like that. You know what I mean? To be saying, oh, who's GABE Rosado? Like, I understand if you're Floyd or Pacquiao or something like that, but I don't think Billy Joe Saunders is known like that. You know what I mean? Maybe in the UK, but definitely not worldwide to the point. Keep in mind, if Golovkin went over to the UK to fight, a big portion of the sales would be because of Golovkin, not just Billy Joe Saunders, right? That's not just a domestic fight. A lot of people, I'm sure the same thing for Kell Brook. I'm sure a lot of people are going to that fight because they do want to get a chance to see Golovkin, who they haven't had a chance to see since his rise to fame or whatever. So I'm not understanding this notion from Billy Joe Saunders, like, who's GABE Rosado? Like, he's just so much above him. You know what I mean? And the other thing that doesn't make sense is this: who are you going to fight next? And that's going to be ultimately telling, because if you say who's GABE Rosado, a fight with him does nothing for me, even though we know the winner gets the Canelo prize, the Canelo sweepstakes, and then you go and fight Max Bursek or somebody lesser known than Rosado, then that means what you said was full of shit. That doesn't make any sense to me, and I don't understand why this is. It's weird to me how Billy Joe Saunders is choosing to manage his career, like saying Golovkin will beat. What fighter talks like that? Like, Golovkin can beat me and Eubanks up in the same day, and he needs to come to the UK. I want a couple things me way. Like, what do you mean you want a couple things me way? Like, you're this big, massive A-side. You know what I mean? And I'm not understanding it. And one of the craziest things that I've seen Billy Joe Saunders do, you guys can research this. Luckily, I didn't save the tweet and I didn't feel like looking for it. But the day, I believe it was the day that Gennady Golovkin tweeted and announced that he was fighting his mandatory Dominique Wade, Billy Joe Saunders all of a sudden came out the woodwork and mentioned Golovkin's handle, saying, "Oh, I'll fight you. I'll come to the States and fight you." Like, what? How do you wait till a man announces his other fight and then say all of a sudden, "Oh, I'll fight you"? But before it was like, "Oh, he needs to come to the UK, want a couple things me way, and 7 figures is not enough. I need this and that, and I need more money." Now all of a sudden you're Brody and you want to fight him in the States the day he announces his other fight, right? And even though he got past Wade, easy work, then you still didn't fight him next. You know what I mean? You didn't reach out. Like, I know Tom Loeffler, I talked to him, and I'll see if I can find the clip, but he said he wants the Billy Joe Saunders fight. So I don't think he was lying, you know what I mean? So if Frank Warren and Billy Joe Saunders, after the Wade performance, reached out to Golovkin and said, "Man, we'll come to the States, we'll fight him, make it at the Forum, let's do it, make it happen," I doubt that Kell Brook would be the person selected, you know what I mean? Because that's an actual middleweight unification, as opposed to Kell Brook has no belts at middleweight, right? So it's just not making sense. And I think I know what's going on in the world of boxing. People look at Floyd Mayweather and they say, "Oh, Floyd started this." They see how much money he's making, the 300 million, and they're taking it and they're flipping it, but they're not realizing Floyd paid his dues. He earned his stripes. So it's not just about picking out what opponent you want and like the stuff that they say, like Max Kellerman. That's what he said was some bullshit to me. It was bullshit. Like, oh, he just picked people when the prize was so ripe and the reward was high and the risk was low. Man, I don't believe that. He, like, Diego Corrales was favored to beat him at 6 feet tall and a knockout artist who was feared at the time. So he earned his stripes. Guys like Billy Joe Saunders, they're still working on that. So you're not going to just sit up here, "Oh, GABE Rosado, I'm not picking him," because, again, if you say I'm not fighting Rosado, but then all of a sudden you're fighting Chris Eubank Jr. in a rematch, okay, that's cool. That makes sense. You passed up Rosado to fight a guy like Eubank Jr. But I guarantee you, and we'll watch it, and if I'm wrong, I'll come back and make a video. I guarantee you it's not going to be somebody who's levels above. It's not going to be Danny Jacobs. You know why I know? Because it can't be Danny Jacobs, because he's fighting Sergio Mora. It can't be David Lemieux, because he's fighting Curtis Stevens most likely. Can't be Triple G, because he's fighting Kell Brook. So you look at the middleweight picture, who is it going to be? If it's someone so much better than Rosado, you tell me who that person is that is free to fight, right? You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if Billy Joe Saunders and teams don't fight anybody and just hope Canelo gets past Liam Smith and just tries to wait for a December fight. Or again, they'll be taking a probably low-level Max Bursak or domestic fighter that no one's ever heard of, and it's like a tune-up fight that hopefully he gets past, that he should easily get past before that. You already fought and beat Andy Lee, so who are you going to fight? Are you going to fight Korobov? Like, what guy are you going to fight at middleweight that's just eons and so much better than Gabe Rosado? So again, I'm not understanding this move from Billy Joe Saunders. It seems he's very selective and really wants to pick and choose who he's fighting. Like I said, this poster was made 2 weeks ago. I was contacted by members of Team Rosado. They were on board. I made the graphic. I upload the graphic. So Billy Joe Saunders, you owe me $75 for wasting my time because you don't want to fight nobody. So you can send me directedbyego@gmail.com. Send me that $75 via PayPal for wasting my time making this graphic and all that if you didn't want to fight. You know what I mean? And this was the problem with boxing. Again, a lot of people are saying, oh, Floyd he didn't do this. And even if that's the case, like, why would you have to follow? If you feel Floyd cherry picked his whole career or whatever, why would you have to follow in his footsteps? Why can't you be your own man? You know what I'm saying? Why would you have to do some, if you think some shit is some sucker shit, why would you have to do it because the next man did it, even if that's what you believe, right? So I don't agree with this. I think he should have just fought Gabe Rosado. It would have helped out the card, and it would have built, him being on a Canelo card would help build a fight with Canelo. You'll probably make more money if you fight, or you at least, let's say you beat Gabe Rosado and you look great in that fight. Now you have a better position to negotiate even more of a purse when you fight Canelo. But again, it looks like he just wants to take, he knows Rosado's a live dog in there, and the only guys that have beat him have been guys with notorious power, stuff like that, like David Lemieux and guys like Triple G, and they know he's tough and he's game and he's in shape and he's training with Fernando Vargas and stuff like that. So he probably, to me, it sounds like Billy Joe Saunders doesn't want no type of spoilers, or not even if he won, he doesn't want to have a performance where he looks vulnerable and doesn't nab the Canelo fight as a result of it. And he knows that Rosado is a tough Philly warrior and he's a live dog where that could at least make him look bad. So he's just like, nah, it does nothing for me. But these fighters got to start coming up with some better excuses. It does nothing for me, but you were just about to fight Max Bursak. What does that do for you, right? Just not making sense. Let me know what you think of Billy Joe Saunders and his motion to not fight Gabe Rosado. We'll see who he fights next, but I looked at the middleweight picture, and I really don't see, with all the players that are booked up, I don't see who he's going to fight that's just so much better. And again, the biggest thing that doesn't make sense is you beat Rosado, and Rosado's with Golden Boy. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but Gabe Rosado is with Golden Boy right now. So they're basically serving Canelo on a platter if you get past him, and you're going to chance that by not even fighting on their undercard. They're trying to do it like a 2-fight deal. Hey, you get this Gabe Rosado fight in, help the Canelo Liam Smith card, and if you get past him, you're like the front runner for Canelo in December. Same thing with Rosado. So to opt out of that makes no sense. Let me know what you think. Make sure you like the video, share the video as always. Hey, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.